Alright guys, so this DBA challenge is for everyone and I just want to test your knowledge, and this is a tricky question. So understand, there is a rack setup, node 1, node 2, and there is a user which queries node 1 with a query, and of course node 1 will generate an execution plan, right? Now the same query is being executed on node 2 by some other user. The SQL ID is exactly same, the query is same. Now the question is, and this is your DBA challenge, will the node 2 consult node 1 to fetch the plan details which are already generated by the node 1 optimizer, or will the node 2 generate its own plan? Alright, put your comments below this video. I will meet you all in the comment section. Meanwhile, let us start the show. Welcome back guys, Arun this side with another episode of Daily DBA Show. First of all, I would like to apologize because we missed a couple of episodes, and this was because we had a holy festival in India, and because of this festival we had a couple of days off in the office, and I think everybody was on holiday including our cameraman, so I couldn't shoot the show. That being said guys, happy Holi to everyone. And let us start our today's episode with the first question of the day. What recommendations do you have when it comes to indexes? Now guys, remember, when it comes to indexes, one thing that I always say to everyone is you need to understand the kind of like width or scale of the data that you are querying from the table, right? So for example, if your data is big, now there is no point in using the indexes, right? It doesn't make any sense. So I think in one of my previous episodes I mentioned this one. Let's take you are querying the data, and every time when you query the data, the number of records that are coming out of the table is more than 40%, then there is no point in using indexes. It is good to go for full table scan. And the same thing happens in the reverse way. Let's take, if your query is getting 10% records out of the table, then it is good to go for index scan. Now, my personal recommendation for indexes is I actually do not favor indexes much until unless I know what is the percentage of data that is being queried from the table. That's rule number one. So whenever a query is running and it is getting more than 50% of the records from the table, whether you create bitmap indexes or B-tree indexes, it doesn't make sense. It won't help you in any case. It doesn't help you in the performance. It doesn't help you retrieve the data faster. It doesn't help at all. Now you might ask me this question, okay Arun, now you are saying indexes are not helping when we are dealing with big or the large amount of data, then what is your recommendation to speed up or increase the performance? Amazing question. Now this is where the data modeling comes into picture. The way you set up your data, the way you organize tables, the way you actually kind of like create constraints, the way foreign key constraints are being created, the way data is normalized, denormalized, all these concepts will come into picture when you are dealing with large amounts of data. So indexes, my personal recommendation, it comes into picture only when you have small amount of data that you want to fetch from the tables, right? But when it comes to big amount of data, it is the way you organize the data is more important than the indexes, right? That being said, let's move on to the next question of the day. How to write better queries so that if there is any change in application end, no changes must be done at DB end. Now this being said guys, it is literally not possible to maintain something like this. So if you have changes in the application and you are saying that you don't want to make any changes into the database, it's impossible. So I take it in a different way. Like for example, you are saying that there is a server, and if you are making hardware level changes, you don't need to make any software level changes. It's impossible. So First of all, I mean, I feel like, don't take me wrong, but I feel like this question is coming from a lazy DBA, someone who doesn't want to work on the database, and someone who's thinking that it is one-time job to write some smart queries that will take care of the application forever. Understand, application will have changes, updates, upgrades, application will be enhanced. And one of the simplest examples that I can give you in terms of application enhancement is, for example, let's take you have an employee table, right? Now, let's take you want to capture the zip code, like where the employee is staying, and this column was never added into the table, right? So now the application is forcing that we will be capturing zip code of the employees. Now in this case, you as a DBA need to add that column, right? So now how do you imagine that this thing can be done automatically? Of course, there are ways. I don't want to get into automation stuff. I'm talking in general right now. So this is highly impossible to achieve. The world is changing faster. There is agile development that is going on. There are requirements and things that are happening around the globe and also around your application, right? So when changes are happening so fast, you as a DBA must also be changing the database very fast, right? And that's the whole point of working as a DBA, right? So that being said, I think there is no smart way to write queries, but there is always an efficient way of improving the queries. That's the separate part. I'm not talking about it right now, but to answer your question, there is no one rule that you write queries once and forget. It will never happen and it can't be done. Changes are constant. So as a DBA, you have to change the database queries. Simple, straightforward, lazy DBA. Let's move on to the next question. Why CBO is better than RBO? This question I get hundreds of times, and trust me guys, cost-based optimizer and rule-based optimizer. We know that these are two terms which are used in terms of Oracle database optimizer. Amazing terms, but the one question that is important is why rule-based optimizer is not good for queries. I think I can give you one big reason, and this is the most important reason. And guys, this is my personal request. Pay 100% attention to this answer, because this I think is the most important answer I guess I have ever given on all the daily DBA shows. This is very important. So what happens when you are using rule-based optimizer? The problem with rule-based optimizer is whenever the order of the tables changes in the from clause, I repeat, so whenever the order of the table changes in the from clause, let's take from EMP comma department, and in the second query you are putting from department comma EMP, the queries are exactly same. What you did, you only shuffled the tables in the from clause. All right, so you are joining multiple tables, you have 2-3 tables that you are joining, and if you are using rule based optimizer RBO, and if you switch the tables, the biggest problem is the execution plan changes, and that is something it doesn't happen with CBO, cost based optimizer. I would like to repeat because this is one of the most important answers. Whenever you change the order of the tables in the from query, what happens is in rule based optimizer, the execution plan changes, and why it happens and all is a completely different scenario, but that is one of the biggest drawbacks of rule based optimizers, and that's the main reason why I personally recommend you should always go with cost based optimizer. Simple, straightforward answer. I think this should help you in one of your upcoming interviews. Meanwhile, let us jump on to the next question of the day. What is the impact of Exadata, cloud and SaaS products on DBA jobs? One of the most asked questions till date to me, and I get this question almost every day. So guys, why are you so much scared? Like everybody is saying we all will lose jobs, DBAs are going out of the jobs, people will throw all the DBAs out of the jobs. You tell me how many of your friends are fired because of database automation? I have never seen. I mean, I don't see, until unless I believe like some DBAs are lazy, some DBAs do not want to upgrade their skills, some DBAs do not want to learn new things. Except those people, the normal, exceptional, talented DBAs, everybody is in job. I don't find anyone being fired just because they started using cloud. Understand, cloud, who says cloud doesn't need a DBA? How will you migrate a database without a DBA to cloud? Even though you have tools which will help you to migrate from physical to cloud, but you still need a DBA, right? A DBA will only move or migrate the database from physical to cloud. Can you get some other person, outside person, and make that person move the database? Not possible. You need a DBA. Now let's talk about Exadata. Exadata is a pre-built rack. So it's a hardware. A company purchases a hardware. Now to run that hardware, to run the database, to make the application connect to that database, still you need a DBA. So who says Exadata kills the DBA jobs? Who says cloud is killing the DBA jobs? Nonsense. And let's talk about SaaS products. So whenever it comes to SaaS products, software as a service is always delivered by keeping softwares in the cloud. Perfect? Amazing, right? But understand, these kind of companies which are keeping their software in the cloud, they always have in-house team which is testing on the next version of the product or next release of the product, right? So they have a test team which has developers, which has DBAs, and this team, this secure team which is working in-house, they will have physical servers. They need DBAs. Who says that Exadata, cloud, and SaaS products are taking away DBA jobs? No, they are not. In fact, I always say DBA job is being enhanced by adding more responsibilities, right? So earlier you were dealing with network admin, storage admin, operating system admin, probably storage admin. Now your stack is shifting. Now you are dealing with cloud vendors, you are dealing with clients, you are working as a cloud architect. So your role is changing, but DBA as a core job is not going anywhere. You are still responsible and owner of the database. Always remember. And being the owner of the database, you have all authority on the database. Understand, guys, like you guys, I don't know who created this entire fuzz about DBAs are losing jobs. I don't see it. And as a DBA, see, you are the owner. You have all authority on the database. So why would a client want to lose you in order to control the database? Now see, if the database has been moved to cloud, okay, perfectly fine. So database is moved to cloud. Who already knows about that database? You, right? So the database was on physical server, you move to cloud. Of course, some of the DBA tasks are being automated, okay? Some, I said some, not all. Nothing can, like, there is no 100% automation ever. You still need a DBA, but the DBA roles are changing. So please don't send me these kind of questions where you are scared. If you are scared, it's your problem. No DBA is losing the job. Everybody is safe. It's just your roles are changing. You are required to know little more than DBA. If you are a lazy DBA and if you are someone who doesn't want to learn database tasks, I am sorry. I think you should be scared. Rest all, if you are game for the cloud, if you want to learn cloud, if you are in the right direction, if you have attitude towards learning new technology, awesome, you are my friend. All right. That being said, let's move on to the next question. How to define which column to create index on? It is dead simple. And again, guys, this is one of the most highly asked questions which I get seldomly, but I get it frequently. Now it is so simple. See, when you issue a command like select star from EMP, what is happening? You are querying everything from the table. Now, do you think you need an index for this? No, not required, because you want every row which is inside the table. So why would you need index? Indexes are required when you want to access particular records. Okay, so if you want to select an employee where employee ID is 1001, this is where what Oracle will do is it will first check if there is an index which is created on the employee ID column. Remember, whatever column you're using in the where clause, so you actually have to create an index on that particular column. Okay, so in our example, I mentioned like select star from employee where employee ID is equal to 1001. So what Oracle will do is it will first check whether there is an index created on the employee ID column or not. If yes, it will go to the index, it will find the value 1001, it will get the physical row ID of the record, and it will get the output to the user. Simple, straightforward. So to answer this question, how to define which column to create index on, you need to look at the where clause of your queries. So for example, select star from EMP where employee ID equal to 1001, that means you need to create index on employee ID column. Now select star from employee where phone number equal to whatever it is. So then in your where clause you have phone number, so that means you have to create index on the phone number column. Now you might say like, okay Arun, is there a possibility that if we have multiple conditions on the where clause, let's take select star from ABC where x equal to y and y equal to z, something like these kind of conditions, then you need to create index on x and y. It's very simple and straightforward. So audit the columns in the where clause of your SQL statements, and those columns are the candidates for creation of the indexes. It's very simple, straightforward. And yes guys, I want you all to learn or actually go to Google and type this thing. It's known as composite key. So what exactly is a composite key? I mean, I want to know from all of you. Take this also as a DBA challenge, and I would like to know details in the comments below, because composite key is to do with having an index on multiple columns. All right, I mean, I don't want to give you more details, but I will see your questions. I mean, I'll see your answers below this video in the comments. And meanwhile guys, I think that's all I had for today. It's time to move on to the most exciting part of the show, and that is the bonus question. Welcome back guys. So this bonus question is something tricky, and I think I would like to thank whoever asked me this question, and I have wantedly picked this up for this show. Now the question goes something like this: how do we as an interviewers identify who is a fake candidate and who is a real experienced candidate? Now I'll tell you this guys, if you just have book knowledge, if you just have taken a course and appearing for an interview, and if I ask you one question, how do you perform Oracle upgrade? So what you will say is, you will start saying the steps of the activity. You will probably say like, we will stop the listener, we will get inside the database, we will download the software, we'll read the readme file which is provided by Oracle, we'll install the new version, we'll perform the pre-upgrade activity, and then we'll run the upgrade tool, or we'll run the DBUA, then we perform the post-upgrade activity, and done. By listening to all this, what this fake candidate has said, now I mean, you might be asking me like, how did I guess that this candidate is a fake candidate? Because see guys, real time is completely different. Okay, so when you work in real time, you're dealing with people, you're dealing with teams. Okay, so what is the real time answer for upgrade activity? So an experienced DBA would give a completely different answer. He would say like, okay, all right, so we will have a kickoff meeting, and we'll be making the application team sit with our database architect, and then we will ask the application if the new version of the database is supported by the application or not, and if they say yes, then we will perform an upgrade in the test environment. Once we have the results from the application team saying that okay, we are fine with the upgrade process, then we will perform the upgrade onto the development database, then the QA database, and finally we'll perform the upgrade on the production database. Understand how different these two answers are. The fake candidate was obsessed about the steps, the internal upgrade steps. The real experienced candidate was obsessed about everything that happens. Now remember this real candidate did not even speak about pre-upgrade, upgrade or post-upgrade steps. The real candidate was speaking about how the teams coordinate. And this is how we as interviewers define who is a fake candidate and who is a real candidate. That being said, guys, please keep on sending me queries to support@dbagenesis.com. I am inspired by all of your questions, and also please comment below these videos. That's all for today, guys. I'll take a leave and I'll see you all in the next episode. Bye.